Expect more. This is 6 News at 10.
If I were a parent with a child in cheer, I would be very concerned right now regarding the governing bodies in this sport.
A lawsuit against cheer star Jerry Harris and the two biggest organizations in cheerleading. Tonight, a lawyer in the case says this could be the tip of the iceberg when it comes to uncovering sexual harassment and assault inside that sport. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Leslie Draffin. Chris Radcliffe will join us in a moment. Jerry Harris, former Navarro College cheerleader and star of Netflix's hit show Cheer, is now being investigated by the FBI for allegedly soliciting sex from minors. Those minors are twin 14-year-old brothers from Texas, both competitive cheerleaders who say Harris sexually harassed them online and in person for years. The boys and their mother are now suing Harris along with the two major entities at the center of the sport of cheerleading. This 47-page lawsuit details allegations against Harris and paints a broad picture of negligence and deception by Varsity, the largest company in cheerleading, and the sport's governing body, the U.S. All-Star Federation, or USASF. The lawsuit says Harris was held up as a celebrity by the cheerleading organizations and worked as a trainer and mentor for them. It claims Harris befriended the two boys at one of the national competitions in 2018 when he was 19. The twins were 13 at the time and were starstruck. Harris reportedly asked for their numbers and their social media accounts, and according to the lawsuit, he began grooming them on social media and sending them messages that quickly turned sexual in nature. He allegedly demanded naked pictures of the boys, asked them specific questions about their sexual experiences, and exploited the fact that they were openly gay. In February 2020, the boys' mom found the messages on their cell phones and social media and immediately reported it to USASF, Varsity, and Cheer Athletics, one of the gyms where Harris cheered. She provided evidence of the manipulation, sexual harassment, and exploitation her sons had suffered, but the lawsuit says nothing happened. Finally, in July, she went to Fort Worth Police and in August filed a report with the FBI. Now, Varsity also says they've cut ties with Harris. Despite that, the lawsuit alleges Varsity and USASF knew or should have known that Harris was hugging and touching minors, that he had a dangerous propensity to engage in sexual misconduct with children, and claims they failed to remove him from having access to children. Today, I spoke with Sarah Klein, one of the lawyers for the teens at the center of this lawsuit. She says this is a sign of a much bigger problem, one she knows all too well because she's a former gymnast and a Larry Nassar survivor.
The lawsuit stems from an adult having sexual contact with minors. These boys were 13 years old when the sexual contact by Jerry Harris began. And it's all in black and white. It's all documented.
Sarah Klein is one of the lawyers representing the twin boys accusing Harris of sexual harassment. Klein was thrust into the national spotlight when she and hundreds of other gymnasts spoke out against Larry Nassar, the former USA Gymnastics doctor who was convicted of abusing them for years. Klein says there are some similarities between her case with Nassar and her client's case with Harris, and most of it stems from a lack of reporting by the two main entities in competitive cheerleading: Varsity, the private company that dominates the cheerleading industry, and the U.S. All-Star Federation, which governs competitive cheerleading.
Jerry Harris was acting as an agent of those entities. First of all. Second of all, this mother did the right thing and picked up the phone immediately when she found out about this, and she contacted USASF, who on their website claims to, have all the right policies in place regarding sexual abuse. And they sat on it, and they sat on it, and they sat on it.
Klein says her client's mother first reported what she'd found on her son's phones and social media to USASF. Then she went to police when they did nothing. Although Varsity told USA Today that in August they'd written a letter to police in Florida and Texas saying they'd learned of inappropriate sexual conduct allegations against Harris, Klein says they actually knew about it much earlier and waited.
Same thing we saw in the sport of gymnastics, right? You have a monopoly running the sport, and then you have children being sexualized, and you have adults who are looking at the bottom line financially. How can we make the most money possible off of children? And so when you have organizations policing themselves, and their value system is financial gain, essentially they don't care what happens to these kids. And then you add on top of that, a homosexual child, they become the perfect target in this very dysfunctional, very broken culture.
Today, a spokesperson for Harris told the media he disputes any claims against him. Klein says she believes there could be other children experiencing similar situations within the sport of cheerleading, and she asks anyone who believes they are a victim of sexual assault or harassment to come forward with their case and continue to report their story until it is properly addressed. Chris?
All right. Wow. Thank you, Leslie. A lot to unpack there. Appreciate that. Good reporting.